Yeah, this is really freaking weird. Oh my god.
Welcome to my world.
For the last flight of my Super Cub checkout process, I figured I'd try flying it from the back seat. Our flight school's insurance policy requires 20 hours of tailwheel time before you can take a passenger. And seeing as I aspire to fly WarBirds, I figured I'd make that final hour interesting.
I gotta sit in the front? Cool. I never get to sit in the front.
This is super, strange though, it's so far.
Wait till I get in.
So before we get going here, there's two things I want to note. I'd never used the forehead cam before, and I had it aimed a little bit too high. As you can see, if you look at it compared to my eyeline, it's looking much higher compared to my eyeline, which is looking lower. And it's also up higher, so it could actually see better than I could over Dennis's head. And secondly, I had the panel cam set up, but what I was most interested in was watching the ball because I wanted to see how coordinated I was flying from the back seat. But when Dennis got in, he bumped it, and that was the one thing that got knocked out of the frame.
What are you looking at my feet for? Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna see how often you're under controls.
Oh.
Plus, I want to see what the instruments are doing when I look back at it.
But during the flight, he gave me feedback whenever I was out of coordination, and it was typically only on climb when I overcompensated with too much right rudder. It was definitely a really weird experience, and I highly recommend giving it a shot if you've got some tailwheel time already.
Yeah, you'll find actually that some of it is in a way easier to reach. You know, you can get better leverage on the brakes and things.
Right.
And I find I have a lot less room up here. Like in a J3 Cub, my knees are right against the instrument panel. I can't swing my legs at all.
So you're better off your back.
I'm always better off in the back with those airplanes. Okay, mixture is rich. Clear prop.
Certain things such as startup have to be done from the front seat because you've got limited controls in the back.
Alright, so how much of the experience do you want?
Well, let's try all of it. I'm gonna pretend like,
Alright, so you want a taxi and everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
sounds good.
Alright. You got your phone, right? I saw it sitting on the ledge of the window there. Okay.
All set.
Yeah, so I have to taxi like a WarBird now, don't I?
Pretty much, you gotta, some of it's by memory, right? You swing and
I see
you're
what's
looking
there.
down there and you see nothing.
And you're good.
Dennis also needed to do the run up from the front seat because I can't reach the mags, the mixture, the carb heat, and I can't reach the flap handle or tune the radio. But otherwise, you can do everything else in the back seat.
See if anybody's a coming. Nobody's a coming. Alright?
Yep.
So you have control.
I have control. Yeah, we're like traffic Fox Oscar's taxiing position, runway 32 for immediate takeoff. We are departing to the west, Burlington. And here we go. Oh, good lord. Okay, so I'm looking at your back, and I'm gonna just try to keep the airplane straight. Oh, it's so weird.
Hey, we survived.
Alright, so I just let it fly off. I didn't try to rotate or anything.
Nope.
Alright, so now I'm gonna pitch for what I think is about the right speed, which is something like that. I don't know. How's that feel? Power's going back?
Okay.
Alright, I don't know, power's back a little bit. Is that too much back?
No, that's good. That's about 2,400.
Okay, and I'm giving it a bit of right rudder. I don't know.
Maybe a little too much right rudder.
Yeah, too much? Okay.
There you go. That's neutral.
Yeah, cool. Alright. Flying the airplane with complete feel. That's fun. A little scary. So now I'm just trying to pitch it by putting the horizon like through the middle of your shoulders, essentially.
Yeah, right now you're climbing a 75,
Okay.
which is safe. So now if you look, sometimes you can see reflections of the instruments on the sides.
It was pretty bright out, so I actually didn't notice any reflections in the windows. But a main point of this flight was sort of to stretch my comfort zone in this airplane, which I've really grown to love. Since having been signed off, I've been enjoying flying cross country in it. The biggest problem though is finding a place to put my gear.
Boy, I sure wish I could mount this thing and put it there, maybe? Yeah, that would be nice.
So I recently got a pivot case. This thing is awesome. I flight tested it here in the Super Cub, and if you stay tuned to the end, you get a chance to win one of these in the next contest. The Super Cub has a really tight cockpit. There's nowhere to put anything, and even a knee board is not really a good option. So this really worked well. It slightly blocked the tack, but if I move my head, I could see it. We don't really use the tack much anyway when we're flying this thing. I flight tested it with Chris, who was hanging around on the ramp one day when I was going to go solo, and he came along for the ride.
I always test things before I need them because you don't want to find out something doesn't work, like this setup or whatever, when you actually need it to work.
Yeah.
So today we're not navigating really, but I have it anyways.
Yep.
The suction cup that Pivot uses seems to be very supple compared to what I've seen, and it stuck really well on the old window in the Super Cub. This is worth noting that the ram suction cups are black, and that could be a contributing factor in what happened to one of our airplanes. It was actually damaged by what we think was a suction cup being left on when the airplane was parked on a hot day. You can see this distorted circle here. The windshield was actually permanently warped. It's pretty bad. Dennis wanted me to point this one out. So watch out for this, and maybe avoid putting suction cups anywhere on the windshield that you'd be looking through. So try sticking with side windows.
Okay, so now trying to pitch level. Yeah, so you just need to make sure your shoulder belts aren't too tight so you can reach the trim.
Alright.
So with the J3 Cub, you got to be PIC back here. Do you have instruments, or what's the deal with that?
No.
Wow, that's weird.
You have the same airspeed, RPM, airspeed, and altimeter, oil pressure, oil temp. But it doesn't have a primer, and it doesn't have a mixture. It's only got a mag switch. The mag switch is right here.
Okay. The trim seems to be really far back compared to what I'm used to. I don't usually have to turn it this many times to get. No, am I turning the wrong way? No.
Remember too, though, is that you're now trimming with the weight in the back, whereas when you're flying by yourself, it's not going to require as much nose down trim.
Okay, yeah.
As the CFG is further forward.
So how'd that work? Am I diving now, or am I flying level?
Pretty much level.
Okay. So I don't want to pull the power right back just yet, but I'm trying to get to like, what am I at, 1200 RPM or something right now?
15.
15, okay.
So you can request flaps for me, because
Yeah, I was getting ready to.
Not reach.
Yes, I realized that. So if we're in the white arc, can I get one notch?
Oh, you're still going 95.
95, eh? Alright. Alright, power's coming back. So you gotta get used to the wind sound.
You can almost hear that kind of warbling whistle.
Right.
Now you're at 80.
Okay.
One notch of flaps coming up.
Alright, we'll keep it at 1, and I'll do a low and over.
And the threshold we're aiming for is just between the gap in the trees there.
Alright, so pitch, or the trim feels about right. I don't feel like I sped up really.
Right now you're 75.
Yeah, so that feels good. So I'm going to keep the pitch where it is. I'm using your shoulder as a thing. I'm kind of putting the horizon through your neck. I guess that's about right. So we just sped up a bit there, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of popped out of the white arc momentarily, but overall it's not bad.
Okay, so I see the runway looks good. And the wind is a slight left crosswind, but doable for landing on this runway.
Okay.
Alright, flaps up, please.
Okay, flaps coming up.
Alright, so putting the horizon through your shoulder feels about right for climb, and through your neck feels about right for approach.
Okay.
I think. Oh, power's gone back. Don't overspeed the engine. There you go. And turn crosswind. Alright, so if I had to guess, I'd say we're at about 800 or 900 feet right now. Is that?
We're 1500 indicated, which puts us about 800 feet above the ground, yeah.
So we'll fly the circuits at about 1500 indicated.
Perfect.
Alright, power's coming back. So is that about 1700 RPM?
2000.
Oh yeah, okay. Put her there for now. Okay.
Yeah, you can even see the airspeed if I push over enough.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to. Let's do it without me being able. Let's just make it real. I got you here for a security blanket. I'll use you. Alright, so I'm going to pull it back to about what I think is 15, which is about that.
Yep, it is.
And I'm going to start slowing her down for white arc, which...
You're right on the cusp of 85 there. Just hold it up a second. There you go.
Okay,
You're
one notch.
80, one notch of flaps coming in. Oh, we got lots of runway too, so you decide if you want full flaps for the first one or not.
Well, I mean, it allows you to fly slower and see better. What do you think? Wouldn't it make more sense to... Are you just saying because it'll feel really different?
No, it's just that if you round up a little too high with full flaps, you'll lose energy quick.
And then I'll slam her down.
It could be, so let's try it in both cases.
Alright, so we'll try this one with one notch?
Yep.
I'm having a really hard time knowing how fast I'm going. Now I'm slow, aren't I?
Okay, just for reference, you're doing 80.
I'm doing 80, wow.
Yep. 85.
I'm too fast for flaps, even. Alright,
Now
so
we're back to 80.
I'm going to hold it here then.
Yep.
Yeah, this is really freaking weird. Oh my god.
Welcome to my world.
Alright, I'm just going to hold this pitch.
75.
Yeah, I feel like I'm okay with it. I'm using peripheral vision now because I can't see a damn thing. Jesus, that was higher than I thought. Alright, should we just go for overshoot or full?
Yep, go overshoot, your tail's still up.
I was 10 feet higher than I thought I was, I think.
Yep. All part of the fun. A little bit less right rudder, a little bit less right rudder.
Less right rudder. Laps, please, thank you.
Laps coming up.
How's my speed right now?
Speed is 85.
Yeah, it feels slower than it is. Interesting. Yeah, so I definitely felt slower than I was at all stages. I knew it pretty quickly that I was flaring higher than I thought, so I fixed it, but yeah, I was almost 10 feet higher than I thought I was.
Well, but still, you know what? It was a good intuitive kind of inputs. I could tell that you were relying on feel, and you were doing a nice job there. I was hovering over the controls just in case, but
yeah, that's cool.
Didn't really do anything scary.
All right, that's good. Okay, so we're in the white arc.
Yeah.
1 notch, please.
Yeah, a little nose up a bit. There you go. Okay. Flaps coming in. Speed is 75.
So I'm going to try to put it slower than I feel comfortable.
Okay.
So don't let me get too slow, but I'm going to try to not be
This
fast.
pitch attitude is giving you 75.
Okay.
Now you're just nudging just above 70.
So that's about where I want it with 1 notch.
Yep. And remember, the pitch attitude has got to be in concert with a power setting to give you a specific speed. If you hold this pitch attitude and pull the power right back, you're going to be going a lot slower.
But
Right now you're at about 70. You're okay. Just watch the trees over here.
Yeah, that's a little close.
That's a little close. 70 right now.
Yeah, I'm just adding some power because I'm rounding it higher than I thought. Alright, I was going to hold it. Yeah, again, it was a little higher than I thought, but not bad. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Whee!
Didn't see a damn thing. Yeah, so trying to work on alignment as well as height with peripheral vision is quite a thing.
Well, for instance, in the steerman going into a tight spot, I just do a continuous kind of slipping turn all the way down to final if I'm not familiar with the area.
Right.
And then I straighten it out at the last second and hope that nobody darts out in front of me.
Right.
But yeah, your dilemma from the back is exactly my dilemma in the steerman on any given day. I just can't, other than I can see instruments, right?
Okay, so I'm looking for 1500 RPM.
Okay, which you're at right now, and in the white arc, flaps are coming in.
1 notch.
I'll wait till you set up on final before I give you another notch.
Yes, please. So I've been a little high each time, I guess, but that's probably a good mistake to make.
Better than low. Okay, you ready for 2?
I'm ready.
Okay. Full flaps.
I'm making
Speed
sure
is
that
70.
making sure the nose didn't come up. Doing it again, I'm getting a little close to those trees.
Yeah, that's all right.
I feel like it's giving me more visibility on the one side.
A little bit of drift there, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that on pavement. Alright, can I get 1 notch?
Okay, 1 notch.
Okay, well, I feel like I accomplished the mission.
We got 0.4 on the hobs now.
Okay, well, all I needed was the 0.4 to make my 20 hours, so by the time we're home.
Alright, you want to rest?
Yeah.
Alright, I got control.
So, yeah, my objective for this flight was 2 things. 1, to see what the hell that was like. And 2, I just want to know what passengers are going to experience back here, so when I'm trying to brief them or describe things, I kind of can have an idea of what they're experiencing.
Well, there's a couple of things that they're also typically going to experience. One is the person that flies with the ball out of the middle. Like, this doesn't feel right, does it?
No.
Or this.
No.
This is centered now, so getting used to what this feels like even when you're not seeing the ball. And I'm very sensitive to it too, because when you're yawing up here, you're pivoting. You're at the pivot point.
Right, I'm getting slammed around.
But you're getting slammed side to side back there, right? For me, it's actually fairly benign.
Right.
But for you, it's like a constant being in a, on a train with a bunch of wiggly rails.
That was my my coordination, by the way, on that
That was
flight?
good.
Okay,
No
cool.
issues.
Just doing it by feel. Oh, yeah, that's definitely a lot of concentration, though. Nothing is familiar, so it's a lot more work. Pretty good view from back here, though, for scenery, anyway.
Yeah.
And to get the full passenger experience, I definitely wanted to know what it was like with the window open.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing, but it's not brutal.
Mostly it's just too noisy, so it's very hard for me to do flight training.
Yeah, because the mic is getting blasted. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that. That was fun.
Actually, it was more than fun for me. It's like watching your kid graduate from college.
Right on.
I have to admit that I felt a little bit emotional after that little moment with my mentor. That was a pretty cool thing for Dennis to say, and definitely felt like I'd accomplished something after that flight. It was sort of pivotal. And it felt like a good one to share. This is actually the 2-year anniversary of Flight Chops. It's amazing to think of how far this thing has come. Not that long ago, I was a non-current pilot. I spent almost 5 years not flying when the whole life got in the way thing happened. It was resources like the Finer Points of Flying podcast with Jason Miller that kind of really helped get me back into flying. And I'm super excited that we're going to get to cover the mountain flying workshop with Jason.
Remind you that we are just about 5 weeks away from our California mountain flying adventure with Steve from Flight Chops and all the other folks who signed up.
And it's a huge honor that he mentioned me in the podcast there. Honestly, I spent years listening to this podcast. It's free. It's amazing. You got to check it out. So huge thanks to everybody on Patreon, and definitely thanks to the sponsors. We're running contests. This month it's a $500 prize. So definitely check out flightchops.com to see how you can win and keep your flight chops sharp.
Thanks for taking me, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's all good, man. I was just going to go by myself anyway, so.
It's kind of nice having the window open. Yeah, I've never been in a tail dragger before, so it's something different.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
Yeah.